I've spent the last 12 years doing video marketing for tech companies of all kinds. I've worked with software companies, hardware companies, even satellite and rocket manufacturers to tell their story and grow their business through videos. Here are the biggest lessons I've learned over my career that will help you use video to grow your company. I used to think that the power of video was the visuals. That's what I saw in movies and on TV growing up. Beautiful shots, lighting, and stories. It's what inspired me to get into video in the first place. So when I started my production company, I got laser focused on creating the most cinematic videos I could for my clients. The result? My videos definitely impressed, but they were so expensive to make that most of my clients would only make one every few years. Then I started noticing something that completely changed how I approach video. I saw that people making weekly videos on YouTube were making crazy sales numbers. I'm talking lean teams making millions. And all they were doing was talking to a camera at their desk and using simple graphics and text to share incredibly valuable insights, systems, and results that genuinely changed the way their viewers did things. So the lesson here is that the real power of video isn't the cinematic visuals. It's helping people get what they want. When I got into the game in 2014, affordable cinematic DSLR cameras had just hit the market. And every company wanted a cinematic video at the top of their website that explained what they did and why they were different. But things have definitely changed since then. So, what's the best video strategy nowadays? If you sell products and services online, I'll keep it simple. It's YouTube. Here's why. On YouTube, you can make videos that make it easy for your ideal customers to discover you, research you, and work with you. And no other content platform allows you to capture the full customer journey like that. Unlike videos on Instagram and LinkedIn, videos on YouTube continue to compound views for years, meaning that one video can bring you business for years. As long as people keep on clicking, the algorithm just keeps serving it up. All you have to do is make videos with irresistible titles and thumbnails, packed with actionable insights for your target customers. That way, the algorithm pushes your videos to people that watch content like yours and makes them easy to find via search. Your ideal customers watch your videos and start to understand the problems they're facing and how to get to the outcomes they want. That builds a trusting connection with you as an expert, and each video guides them deeper into your marketing funnel until they land on your website and take the next step. The reason it works so well is that YouTube feels like a conversation, except you're not talking to one person at a time. You're streaming a carefully thought out conversation to hundreds or thousands of people every day. As you do this, you're building an evergreen library of searchable content that is not just bringing you leads, it's helping you stand out to top talent and grow your brand. It only takes a few hours a week to create your concepts and write your scripts so you can film one morning a month, hand your footage off to an editor, rinse and repeat. Plus, you cut each one of your long-form videos into short-form reels to share on all your social platforms so you can engage your current audiences, drive more traffic, and replace 2 to 3 slots of daily content per week. So the lesson here is the best video strategy for online brands is posting weekly long-form videos on YouTube. Once I realized that my strategy revolved around YouTube, my next question was, what kind of videos do I make? Well, my goal was to get warm leads. So I needed videos that help people find me, feel convinced that their current way of doing things needed to change, and feel that the outcome that I provide is the right one for them. I spent a lot of time doing research and felt that a lot of what was out there was overly complex. So I built my own system called the AAA YouTube funnel that makes it very simple to understand and execute. At the top, you have attract videos, which help you get discovered. There are 2 types of attract videos: problem videos and solution videos. Problem videos expose your target audience to problems they're not aware of and would greatly benefit from solving. Solution videos help your target customers solve problems and achieve outcomes they're already looking for help with. At the end of attract videos, you point them to watch the next kind of video, align videos. These are longer videos that give viewers the full step-by-step process of getting the high-level outcome they want. For example, my Align video teaches you my full process on producing weekly YouTube videos to get leads. The purpose of these videos is to let your ideal customers dive deep and see the full path from where they are right now to where you're promising to get them. That way, they can start to build conviction that this is the right path for them. At the end of Align videos, you direct them to your product or service, which offers the fastest and easiest path to the outcome they want. They click the link in the description, which takes them to your landing page. And here, they'll find the final video type, the Act video. This is a 3 to 15 minute video sales letter that delivers the entire sales pitch in one go. I know what you're thinking. That's a very long video. Will people really watch that? That's a good observation, but keep in mind that at this point, they've watched at least 10 to 30 minutes of your content. They're already intrigued in the path to the outcome, and now they want to know how you can make that path easier, faster, and more successful for them. Here's how this video works. You start by hitting the problem, agitating it, introducing the outcome you provide, the results you've gotten for others like them. Then you walk through the features and how your solution works, and you hit all the objections they might have. At multiple points throughout this video, you'll prompt viewers to act, to take the next step of booking a call or a demo, starting a free trial, or just buying outright. That way, they can take the next step when they feel ready, or keep watching until their objection is handled, or they realize it's not for them. It's so important to make this video because it will increase the conversion rate on your website, meaning that the same amount of traffic on that page will result in more qualified leads. Now, you have the entire system to get leads with video, from attracting them into your world, aligning them to your solution, and prompting them to act by taking the next step. So, the lesson here is to get warm leads from YouTube, create a video funnel, and add new videos to it every week. I used to think it took hundreds of thousands or even millions of views on YouTube to generate results, and that bar seemed so high that I didn't even bother to try. But when I did the math and worked backwards, starting with how many sales I wanted to make in a month, then calculating the percentage of meetings I'd need to close to hit that, then what percentage of website visitors would convert into meetings, and what percentage of impressions and views on social and YouTube would get someone to visit my website, I realized that I'd only need around 1,000 to 3,000 views to get one call. And that's very achievable when you publish one video per week and cut 3 reels from it to share across all your social platforms. So the lesson here is you don't need to go viral to get results on YouTube. You just need to be consistent. All right, this one is really important and changed the game for me. And I learned it from producing videos for clients. Whenever I'd start a new project, I'd kick off by diving deep to understand their ideal customers, their product or service, their competition, and all of that stuff. I'd then use that to write the script for the video. The problem was, referring to messy meeting notes was not fun. The information was there, but it was all over the place, quickly noted down, and definitely not refined. That changed when I started making something that I call the core messaging document, and it made starting my own YouTube channel way easier. It's so important, it's actually the first step of the YouTube marketing engine, my program for tech founders and marketers who want to drive leads with YouTube. Here's how it works. The core messaging document is the place where I keep everything about my ideal customer profile and my messaging to them. This is not just about their role, their age, or who the decision makers are. Those are table stakes. The real value is in what's going on in their head and heart. What frustrations are they feeling? What fears do they have? What do they want right now? What goals do they have for the future? What are our overlapping values and beliefs so I can make messaging that actually resonates with people who are aligned to me instead of attracting bad fits who tend to have the opposite values and beliefs. And I want to write the bad fits as well, so I know what to look for when I'm on a sales call. It has what mindset shifts I guide them through. It has my unique points of view so that I sound original instead of sounding like everyone else. It also has my core offer statement and the transformation path that I take customers through. Finally, it has the content pillars that will help me create content later on. With this, I can easily write messaging that resonates at a deep level with my target audience, stays consistent, and stays aligned with my goals. So the lesson here is to create a core messaging document that goes deep. Titles and thumbnails used to be the last thing I thought about when making a video, but on YouTube, they're literally the most important thing to get right. That's because if your title and thumbnails aren't irresistible, your videos won't get clicked on, and all the work you put into the video goes down the drain. So now I start every batch of videos by creating title and thumbnail concepts. That way, I start by creating super clickable videos which make the content of the video itself more engaging and interesting. I teach this process in Module 3 of my program, but here it is in a nutshell. The key to making irresistible titles and thumbnails is to focus on making them as benefit-driven and curiosity-inducing as possible. In other words, promise something worth clicking on. A great thumbnail should be visually striking and get you to read the title. The title and thumbnail design work together to drum up curiosity. Use 2 to 6 words max, a picture of your face, and sometimes a graphic that teases the content of the video. Make these so good that when your ideal customers come across them, they just can't resist clicking on them. Starting here not only ensures your videos get clicked on, it just makes the videos better overall. So the lesson here is to always start your YouTube creation process with titles and thumbnails. When I start writing videos, or really any piece of content, it's really tempting to stuff it full of all the points I've ever wanted to make on the topic. And sure, some videos like this one are about having a bunch of points. But for most pieces of content, when you start adding a bunch of different points to it, the main point you wanted to make gets diluted. I used to struggle with this until my coach taught me to simply focus on making only one key point for every piece of content. Once I did that, my videos started becoming super clear, and they started getting better engagement. Once you deliver the core things needed to make that point clear, you're done. Wrap the video up with a call to action and get out of there, or you risk going into the weeds and losing your viewers. So the lesson here is to keep your videos to one point. The introduction to your video is incredibly important. It's the next most important thing after your title and thumbnail because it's the first thing viewers will see and they're going to decide whether to watch the rest of the video from that. It also tends to be a bit challenging to learn because, it's a blank page. But there's actually a very easy way to develop your introduction. All you have to think about is what is your best, strongest point. One that your viewers have probably never heard before, at least not the way you're going to put it. The reason you put your best insight first is that it earns you trust from your audience because they watch and think, wow, I've never thought of it that way before. I want to hear more from this person. Now they're committed to watching some more of your video. So the lesson here is to put your best insight in your video's introduction. Once I started putting my best insights into my intros, I still felt like there was something missing. While I was delivering a strong point, it just felt a little flat, like I was giving information out of a textbook. So I studied how other successful YouTubers structured their introductions, and the solution became clear. I needed to wrap my point in a story so people would feel it instead of just hear it. You see, humans are hooked on stories. We're just wired for it. We hear a conflict and we just have to know what happens. So when it comes to delivering a key point, the best thing you can do is to wrap it in a story. All you need to do is think of a story that makes your point feel real. The key word there is feel. Think about the emotion your key point is meant to bring out. Is it fear of missing out? Is it a moment of realization or insight? Is it a metaphor that makes the abstract feel relatable? Do this and your key points will land in your viewers' hearts rather than their minds, so they feel them and remember you. So the key here is to wrap your points in stories that make them feel real. Okay, so now my intros were solid, but I still needed to figure out how to structure the rest of the video without losing my viewers. It was easy when I was writing a video involving structured steps because I just follow that order. But what do you do when the video is about an insight rather than a step-by-step process? The answer came while I was writing a script about making engaging videos. I realized that what keeps people engaged in a video, particularly when they're scrolling on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, is the dopamine loop. This is basically the reward system of your brain. It works like this. You experience a cue that causes a craving for a reward, like smelling a pie on a windowsill. Then you perform the action needed to get the reward. You then get the reward, and that feels good. That reinforces the behavior, so next time you get the cue, you repeat the action. This is the dopamine loop, and in videos, it works like this. A video opens the loop with a cue promising a reward, like a new business insight. The viewer takes the action of watching the video. They get the reward, and that feels good. The behavior is reinforced, and that's exactly when the next loop opens, either inside of that video or by clicking or scrolling to the next one. So all you need to do to write scripts that keep your audience engaged is to structure them in loops. The intro is a loop that naturally leads you into the next open loop, the promise of the rest of the video, which naturally leads you into the next point. If you keep doing this, you'll crescendo at the end, where you fully deliver the promise of the video and tell people to go open the next loop by watching the next video. Keep doing this and your viewers will eventually land on your sales page. So the lesson here is to structure your videos in loops. By now, you may have realized that one of the major challenges to making great YouTube videos is writing great scripts. Even though I've been writing scripts for over a decade, YouTube has a specific format that's tough to learn. So I did what everyone does. I used AI. Immediately, I regretted my decision. Every time I asked AI to write scripts, even if I fed it a ton of good information, it outputted the most annoyingly worded scripts ever. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's this, not that. The short staccato sentences, the overly clever and vague wording. I even tried writing a script myself and asking AI to edit it, and it kept rewriting all my thoughtful words into the same AI sounding crap. So I tried something different. I started using AI to turn my spoken brain dumps into usable outlines. To do this, I just opened Google Docs, turned on voice dictation, and just spoke on the topic and kept going until I felt I got everything. Then I asked AI to organize this into bullet points. I'd also use AI to review my scripts and give me feedback rather than having it rewrite it for me. The results were much better, and my writing has continued to improve, which I believe is one of the most important skills you can have as a founder or a marketer. Learning to write well means you gain the ability to clearly articulate ideas and present them in the most easy to understand and impactful way possible, while letting your unique voice shine through. So the lesson here is to learn how to write using AI only for outlining and feedback. One thing you'll find when you embark on the YouTube journey is that it's just hard. You're doing something totally new that you've never done before. Strategy is hard, writing scripts is hard, picking gear is hard, filming, editing, and publishing are hard. It can get overwhelming really easily. Luckily, there's a simple thing you can do to overcome this. Just push through. I know it sounds trite, but hear me out. This is what expansion is all about. You're going to hit the edge of your capabilities, and it's up to you to push through. Just make sure you're confident that what you're doing is the right thing to do. If you know you need to write a script and that you just need to figure out a challenging intro, then just push through. But if you're not confident that what you're doing is the right thing to do, don't push through. Go get help from someone who's done what you're trying to do. If you don't have a YouTube coach, you can check out my program for founders and marketers in the link below. If my style isn't for you, find a good coach that you do vibe with. It will be the best thing you ever did. You'll feel confident that you're spending your time wisely. You'll be able to get unstuck when you get stuck, and you can stay on track and hit your goals as quickly as possible. So the lesson here is that when YouTube gets hard, just push through or get help. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and that kept me from getting on YouTube for a long time. I used to think, how on earth am I going to make weekly videos if I have to shoot and edit a masterpiece every time? But when I saw that people were actually making sales on YouTube, were just talking to a camera and using simple graphics and text to clearly illustrate how to get from point A to point B, everything changed. I realized that I didn't need to make cinematic masterpieces. I just needed to build a simple workflow that enabled me to post a video every week. And the way to achieve that is to spend a few hours every week developing concepts and writing scripts so I could shoot one morning a month. That way, I could just hand the footage off to my editor, and I know that I'll always be a few videos ahead. Whenever I feel things getting jammed up on one script, I just move to another and keep it flowing so that I know that by recording day, all of my scripts will be written and I can just shoot. So the lesson here is to focus on building a workflow that produces weekly videos instead of making perfect videos. When I first started my channel, I was so determined to launch by a certain date that I just filmed one video and launched with that. What happened next was a bit of a disaster. It took me another 2 to 3 weeks to get the next video up because I had to write another script. I was still new at it and I was juggling a lot in my business. Catching up to the weekly cadence was tough, and it could have easily been avoided had I just waited until I had 4 videos written. So the lesson here is to not film your first batch of videos until you've written 4 of them. Being a videographer myself, when I started my channel, I decided that I would do the editing, at least for the first few videos. Predictably, The result was that I became the bottleneck and I started to fall behind. Then I decided to just bite the bullet and pass the work on to an editor. Editing is literally the most time-consuming part of YouTube. I know it's tempting to save money and do it yourself, but believe me, you're better off hiring someone to do this, and it's not even that expensive. And AI tools are making editors even cheaper and faster. So the lesson here is to just get an editor. So the first time I made this video, I decided to just speak from the heart. I had a list of lessons and I thought I could just wing it with a little guidance. It did not turn out well. I had to do so many takes and most of what I said just rambled on. That's when I realized that it's just much easier to stick to reading a well-crafted script off a teleprompter. When you do this, you can film an entire month's worth of long-form YouTube videos in one morning. Plus, the process of writing scripts allows you to develop your thoughts into the sharpest version possible. And on YouTube, that's really important because every moment you're fighting to keep your viewers' attention and you cannot afford to ramble or think of the best way to say something on the fly. Yes, there are types of content you can make that are unscripted, like podcasts or interviews, but those are conversations between two people and people expect it to be off the cuff. In a video like this one, it pays to script it well. So the lesson here is to write great scripts and just read them off a teleprompter. When I posted my first video on YouTube, I spent that morning super anxious, checking the analytics constantly to see if all my hard work had paid off. Did people reply? Did people like it? How many views did it get? All this did was lead me to feeling anxious and stressed, not really enjoying it, and not being able to focus on the other work that was important. Eventually, I put my phone down and realized that I had already done all the work I needed to do on this, and that for now, I just needed to trust and let go. Success is not going to come overnight, especially not on YouTube. After that, I was able to focus on the next task and strengthen my internal belief that I can trust that I'm doing the right thing. So the lesson here is to trust the process, believe that you will succeed, and keep moving forward. Once I did commit to launching my YouTube channel, I wanted to move as quickly as possible. All I cared about was getting to sales fast, and I was making great progress. Then one day, one of my coaches helping me refine my messaging sensed this, and he paused to tell me something that I really needed to hear. If you want results overnight, this isn't going to work. We're building for the long term, and that's going to take time. He asked me if I'd ever heard of a concept called the dip from marketer Seth Godin. I had, and he reminded me that when you embark on doing something new and worthwhile, there will be a dip where you change what you're doing, where things feel totally unfamiliar, and that makes things slow down while you focus on making the shift with intention. That's the only way to build something truly different. I knew that he was right. I took a deep breath and realized that my need to get results as fast as possible was coming from the fear of things not working out. The truth was, many others have taken this exact path to get to where I wanted to go, and I could trust that path and focus on doing things well instead of focus on doing them as quickly as possible. So the lesson here is that if you want to get results that will endure, accept the dip. I've written many hooks for videos over the years, but hooks on YouTube are quite different. Thankfully, the formula is pretty simple. This is exactly what I teach my students inside the YouTube marketing engine. For starters, the hook is the first 10 to 20 seconds of the video. People will watch this and decide whether or not to keep on watching. So you need to start with a setup that reinforces that this video will deliver what the title and thumbnail promised. Then you drop in some credibility to show the viewer why you're qualified to speak on this topic. Then you just tell people what they're going to get by watching your video and why they should care. That's it. And from there, you can dive into your intro. So the lesson here is to make YouTube hooks that reinforce the title and thumbnail, establish your credibility, and promise the viewer a valuable outcome. Here's another quick one. Obviously, if you want to get results from your video, you're going to have to use a call to action in all of them. But the mistake people make is just tacking one on at the end, like call or visit now, and calling it a day. Don't do that. Before you even start writing a video, you should decide what the call to action is based on your current goals. Are you making a video for a landing page? What's the best call to action you can come up with? Is it booking a call or booking a strategy audit? Is it signing up for a demo or signing up for a free trial? If you're making content for the top of your funnel, are you sending people to your newsletter sign up? Are you sending them to your lead magnet or to an aligned video in the middle of your funnel? That all matters, and it totally changes the video that you make. If you choose your call to action with intention, your video will help you reach your goals, and the video will flow more naturally towards that call to action. So the lesson here is to start your writing process by choosing a call to action that's aligned to your goals for that video. Every time I log on to LinkedIn, I see companies sharing videos without captions. People, 90% of videos on social media are watched without audio. That means if you don't put captions on, you just lost 90% of your audience and 90% of your ROI. That makes no sense. It's not enough to rely on auto-generated captions from the platform. You need to bake these into the video itself. There's plenty of ways to do it, whether on your editing software or with apps on your phone, so there's really no excuse. So the lesson here is to always include captions in your videos when posting on social media. When you're working on your first few videos, it's tempting to get feedback from as many people as possible. I did that. I sent my first video to founders, marketers, and friends because that's who my audience was. The reality is, I shared it way too early with people who just aren't experts at YouTube, and the feedback that I got went in all kinds of directions. Then I asked myself why I was looking for feedback in the first place. It turns out I was just excited to share my progress, and I wanted a little bit of reassurance that I was on the right track. Unfortunately, I didn't share it with anyone who could actually tell me if I was on the right track or not. So I decided that I don't need a pat on the back, I know what I'm doing, and I trust my gut. Now, I don't share my videos for feedback unless I really need it, and I only share it with people who are also doing YouTube. That way, I don't have to go back and forth with people's ideas and visions for my video. So the lesson here is to ask yourself why you want feedback before you ask for it. When I talk to tech founders and marketers, one of the things that keeps them from getting on YouTube is looking around and seeing that none of their competitors are on YouTube. So why should they be? On the surface, that sounds like a risk, but the reverse is actually true. The fact that none of your competitors are on YouTube means that you have a huge opportunity to own that market. YouTube has billions of users, and the majority of them are on here every day. It's almost guaranteed that your target audience is on YouTube, waiting for the algorithm to serve up videos on the topics they care about. All you need to do is publish them. So the lesson here is that if your competitors aren't on YouTube, that's an opportunity, not a risk. I know so many people that want to get on YouTube, but haven't pulled the trigger yet. When I finally decided to go all in, it was because I was fed up. I was fed up with needing to spend hours sending hundreds of cold emails to get leads. I was fed up with putting all this time into social content that didn't really get any results. I was fed up with barely anyone reaching out to me. So I said enough is enough. I'm an expert in video marketing, and the only thing standing between me and my future customers is figuring YouTube out. So I made the decision, found the support that I needed, and now I'm helping other founders and marketers do the same. So when enough is enough for you, the lesson here is to just make the decision to get on YouTube, find the support you need, and keep making progress. And if you want my exact step-by-step system for launching a YouTube channel that gets leads for your company, watch this video.